Good evening, friends. Good evening, good evening, good evening. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Tremaine Wills. I am a financial. Ooh, my camera done fell down, y'all. That's funny. Okay, I guess we're gonna hold it today. Um, Tripod don't want me to be great. All right, here we go. Okay. For those of you who don't know me, so for everybody that's not on Instagram, my tripod fell over. But for those of you who don't know me, my name is Tremaine Wills. I am a financial planner and investment advisor. I own a company called Mind Over Money, where we are on a mission to help 1 million households grow their invested assets to $1 million or more. We do that through providing comprehensive financial plans, giving investment advice, and teaching and promoting financial literacy through sessions like this. And so you are watching a segment called Questions Not Need Answers. And today's topic is, why do I need a family profile for my finances, right? So a lot of times when we think about managing our assets, we are just thinking about the numbers, right? We're not really considering some of the other things that go into it. And our finances are so much more than just numbers. They're so much bigger than, a spreadsheet or just a document. When you really peel back the layers of what goes into a financial plan, it is to help you achieve the goals you want to accomplish for your life. And so we're going to talk about why you need a family profile in order to really manage your finances well, because it helps you achieve the goals that you have, right? So that's the topic that we're going to dive into. But I always like to ask, right? And if this is not your first time on one of my lives, you know that I'm going to ask this every single time. Where are we tuning in from, right? It's always amazing to see where our content reaches, where it spreads. I want to know, where are we reaching this time, especially live. So if you're tuning in live, let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from. And if you are catching a replay, let me know where you're catching that replay from as well, right? So our company is based in the United States. We're based in Virginia. We service clients across the United States. So my firm is virtual, and we're able to touch clients here on the East Coast and all the way as far as Hawaii, right? So that's super exciting. The power of the internet, remote work makes it makes us able to access clients across time zones, right? So we got some folks tuning in from DC. Welcome, DC. It's always interesting when I tell folks that we're based in Virginia. A lot of times they assume we're in like that northern Virginia near the DC area. We all the way Southern Virginia, right? Down there at the beach. In Hampton Road. So welcome, welcome. I hope that this is a wonderful session for you today. So if you'd like to make sure that you are tuned in when I go live, make sure that you are following on whatever platform that you're watching, and then turn the notifications on so that you are made aware when I go live. If you'd like to follow our journey where we are helping households grow their invested assets, you can follow at 1 Trillion Tribe on every platform to see where we are with our statistics. To date, we have 80 community members who are growing their invested assets on this mission, and we are over $4.5 million invested. A lot of that with first-time investors. So super excited with the progress that we are experiencing for our community. All right. So let's get, before I forget, if you would like some assistance with creating a budget, paying off debt, and investing, you can join me for my next free workshop. You can just comment workshop and you'll get a message to register for free. All right. And so what we do is, I teach a lot, guys. I used to be a teacher, so I'm super, like, it's fun for me to teach. And what we do during our workshop is a hands-on hour that we spend deep diving into what actions you need to take. So it's not just me talking at you saying this is what it is. It's like, hey, these are the steps that you need to do, right? So if you'd like to participate in the next free workshop, comment workshop, you get a link to register. so that you can get some assistance with budgeting, paying off debt, and investing. All right. Now, let's get into this content. So, I always take a little bit of notes to make sure that there's some guidance, some actionable steps that you can take from these live streams. So, first, we're going to talk about, well, what is a family profile? Because it may not be something that you've ever heard of, especially in relation to your finances. So, a family profile is a description of the stakeholders impacted by your financial decisions, right? And so, if you are a parent, that might come easily to you, right? So you know that there are children you have to take care of. If you are married, then you know you have a spouse or a partner that is impacted by your financial decisions. If you are caring for an aging parent, or if you are, um, the first person in your family to make significant wealth and you're helping other people out, right? There's different stakeholders who are impacted by the decisions that you make with your money. And so when you're thinking about your financial goals, knowing that family profile is important because you're going to have to have all of that in consideration when you're creating your financial strategy, right? Now, for many of us, we'll even need to take that a step further where we consider, well, what are the goals that we have connected to each of those family members in that profile, right? So if I have children, am I going to be helping pay for college for those children? Am I going to be covering, childcare and aftercare and all the things, right? Sports, extracurriculars, right? Because I have clients with children, and it's a bill, right? So we need to build those things into our plan. Okay, we got a great question here. What if you're single but are future planning? So that's a great question. As a single person with no responsibilities, right? You might take into consideration, like, who are the people that are still impacted by the way that you plan your finances now, right? So like for me, I'm a single person, but even though I'm not responsible for anybody's livelihood, I still plan members of my family into my plan, right? So, like, I have a young niece, I have a young nephew. They are stakeholders because I intend to make sure that when they turn 18, they got a little bit of change, right? And so it's going to be predicated on what you want to do for those individuals if you're not responsible for them, right? Because some of us, we don't have a choice, right? If we have children, we have a responsibility to make sure that we are taking care of them, right? So I'll dive into that a little bit deeper. And so the reason why like creating this family profile is important is because for many of us, especially if we are some of the first professionals in our families or some of the first higher income earners, especially minorities, we might have this black tax, right? And I talked about this a little bit when I interviewed on the Wall Street Journal, but there's this expectation that when you have more money, you're able to help out other family members. And if you're not careful and you don't budget for that, that can perpetuate this cycle of poverty, where even though you do have access to more wealth, because you're not being intentional with planning how it's being spent, you're still trapped in that same cycle, right? And so it can be a challenging thing to break, but it's not impossible. So if you find yourself in a position where you are helping take care of and assist different family members, all of that needs to be in consideration and put into your financial plan. All right. Now, what are some of the consequences of not identifying, well, like, what is my family profile? What are some of the things that I might be responsible for? Is not truly measuring your spending, right? Because if you're constantly like covering extracurricular expenses or constantly sending money back to different family members and you're not paying attention to how much money is coming out, you might not realize that that is hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a month that is not being allocated towards making sure that you have retirement, right? That you're paying down debt, especially if you have some of these advanced degrees, right? And so even though you're making high income, you're not really putting yourself in a better financial position. All right. So that's one of the things that can happen if you're not careful to make sure that you know what that family profile looks like and how you're supporting different people. The other piece that can come from it is frustration, right? Is like you get this feeling like I'm making all this money, but I'm handing it out, taking care of all these people, and it doesn't feel like anything's getting done for myself. And those are not things that we want. So what you want to do is you want to sit down and really identify, like, where is this money going? How am I spending it? Who are the stakeholders, so that you can make decisions about if it's going to continue, right? Take this with a grain of salt, right? Because financial advice is not one size fits all, but we have to decide where we're going to allocate our resources. So one of the first steps we can do is you can start to list every family member that is impacted or that you support with your financial decisions, right? When you do that, you want to determine your responsibility or your ability to support whatever those family members' goals are or responsibilities that you have to them, right? So, for example, if I have children, then my responsibility to make sure that they have clothes and food and shelter, right? That ranks high up on the list. But let's say I have a cousin that is working adult age that is just up on hard times. The responsibility that I have to support them is not as high as making sure, my children have what they need. So you have to identify where those lines are going to be and decide what the level of compromise sacrifice is going to be to make sure that you still take care of yourself. Because oftentimes, when we are supporting and aiding other people, we neglect our own needs to make sure we have money for our retirement, make sure that we are able to do the things that we want to do with the money that we've worked hard for, right? So, taking some time to sit down and see, like, where is this money going? How am I supporting those who are around me will help you make sure that you have structure around what is being done and you can create some boundaries to ensure that all the money that you're making is not being made in vain and you and your family are still trapped in the same cycle. All right. So when I say that, it can come off as kind of harsh, right? Because at first earshot, it may sound like, well, you about to cut folks off. Maybe, maybe not, right? Because sometimes you might go through that list and realize like you giving folks money that are not trying to help themselves. And you have to decide if that's what it's going to be. But at the end of the day, there has to be some sort of profile so you know who around you is impacted by the financial decisions that you make and how is that playing a role in how you are building wealth. All right. So that's our family profile. If you haven't done anything like this, it may be time to sit down and go look through those statements to see where's the money going. Am I supporting those I am responsible for to my fullest capacity? And am I making decisions that enable other people not to show up for themselves and attempt to build wealth? All right. So if you did not already register for the free workshop, you can comment workshop. What we're going to be doing is making sure that we have our budget in place, paying off debt, and investing. It is a live workshop where you'll be able to work through all of those pieces. If you enjoyed this section, or if you know anybody who spends a lot of money but doesn't feel like they are growing in their finances, send this video to them so that they can do their own family profile. Be sure to follow us so that you can stay connected for the next time we go live and answer a question that needs an answer. All right. Have a great day.